The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Tonight I have an extra special guest. He's a producer, an actor, a comedian, and his name is Michael, which do you prefer?
Whatever you want,
okay.
Alan. It's
He's
your
Michael
show.
Calderon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So I've had the pleasure of working with you, and you are one of the funniest actors I've ever worked with.
And I've had the pleasure working with you.
So, and we worked on a show with that was called the Fez Belcher Show.
The Fez Belcher Show.
Yeah, and what was your character?
My character was Pablo, which is okay.
Right.
But then Lindley Foley, the director,
Right.
threw in Peterson, which really confused the living daylights out of me reading the script, because now I've got to confuse the audience, right? I mean, when I feel comfortable,
Right.
I speak with a little accent. When I'm angry, I speak good English.
Right.
That's where the Pablo Peterson comes from.
I know, but you were so hysterical. I mean, you were like the funniest part of the show. I have to say it.
Thank you.
But Lindley is a fantastic creative person, right? I mean, and it's amazing how he tells you he's going to use you, and then a lot, you've heard that. I've heard it from other filmmakers. Oh, I got a part for you, and then you never hear from him again.
Right.
We got to work together.
Yeah. 3 months later.
Right, but he calls up and he remembered and he gave me a part, and I know he did that with you.
Yeah.
But you've been working with him for years, right?
I've known Lindley now for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in his first movie, The Bull's Night Out, which was, I think, one of his best creations.
Right.
And when he came up with Pablo, that was his second best creation.
Right. And Pablo had a special friend, right? What was Pablo's friend?
Pablo is a ventriloquist, but you never see him do any ventriloquism. That's throughout the whole show.
It's hilarious.
But it was great playing, and he takes his role seriously, and as long as he has a nice, comfortable couch,
Right.
like this chair, I love this chair.
This is lovely, right? It's nice. Only the best material.
My therapist has one just like it. It's red.
Red.
She won't let me sit in it though.
It can't be green though, right?
She says I have to work up to it.
Okay,
You understand? And
right.
I go back with her to the 80s.
When do you think you'll be finished with your therapist?
Oh, probably in another 20 years. Because when I first met her, she told me, listen, just talk about yourself. So I start talking about myself.
Right.
We're up to 1965.
Right.
That's my puberty years. It's going to take at least another 20 years to figure this thing out.
It's crazy.
But I'll be all right.
Yeah, I think you're all right now.
As long as they let me.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and smooth.
Take this home with me.
We'll have to ask Dina. She really doesn't like us to take props out of the
My
office.
compliments to her.
She's the best.
What?
So with going back to Fez Belcher, we're going into season 2, is it now, or is it season 3? How does it work? There's how many episodes did we do? Did you do?
I don't.
20?
I've done about at least 4 or 5.
No, but we're doing more. I mean,
The last episode we did, I was in the Hunts Point region of the Bronx at about 2 o'clock in the morning.
that's lovely.
Racing a car up and
Yeah,
down
but
the street.
we can't talk about that one. That's
No. We're not allowed to give it away.
But is that the beginning of the new season? Is that the first episode?
Well, no, we haven't finished the first season.
Oh, that's still part of the first season.
That's still part of the first season.
Oh, wow. Surprise, surprise. But, okay, so what other projects are you working on?
You shoot 400 hours, and hopefully you'll get 3.
Yeah, but
you'll get 3 good hours.
But it's amazing. I mean, he does everything. He writes, Lindley writes, he directs. The only thing he doesn't do, unless I missed it, does he do any acting on the show? Or,
I'm not allowed to say.
Okay. But there might be a cameo here or there, right? You never know.
There may be some music or some lyrics that no one has ever heard before, and if you say what they are, you don't want that with Lindley. Lindley's a good man, but don't get him angry.
So you work on other people's projects, but you also work on your own projects, right?
I worked on a project with a friend of mine's. I had an old script just sitting around for a number of years, and you know, unless you get people involved, and it becomes because shooting film is a business.
Right.
Regardless, it's art, but it's business art.
Right.
So I said to myself, you know, wait a minute. I'm gonna take this script, and I got in touch with a friend of mine who said he would help me direct, because I wanted to produce, wanted him to direct, and my friend died. So I went to
How
Brooklyn.
long did you know him?
I knew him for at least 20 years.
That must have
20
been
years.
devastating.
Well, he was a fellow actor and a very good one, a very, very good one. So I got in touch with a friend of mine, Hector Gonzalez, who at the time was running a nonprofit called Just Three, you know, acting, trying to get kids to come in and learn
That's
about the
wonderful.
arts.
That's great.
Learn how to work cameras, learn how to, you know, even if they wanted to get into music, there were plenty of musicians in the area that would love to teach kids how to play congas and timbales, which I play a little congas, a little timbales, and I also play a little guitar and drums. And, you know, when you're in the arts, you like to pick everything up.
Right.
You like to get into all of it. So we had these kids, and they really wanted to make this movie.
Right.
So I went to Sunset Park. I found a family there that was willing to help us. I went to Park Slope. I got a community center to give us a couple of people. I went to the VA. I got law enforcement people.
Wow.
I got Bushwick people. I got Red Hook people. And I said, you know, this is a shoestring budget, but we have no shoes to put the strings on. Right. So it turned out that the difference between making a movie that costs a lot of money is make a movie over the long term. So as you get a little bit of money, you shoot. Right. This way you have enough money to feed your actors, right, and you have enough money to give them transportation, a must, right, in any project. So we got these people involved, and the kids in this movie, I was amazed with their ability and their zeal and their aspiration to do this. They wanted it. Right. And the families that said, yeah, I'll get involved. So when you see this movie, if you see a child, I guarantee you his mother and father are also actors in the movie.
Okay. So
I have at least 5 to 6 families with their children participating in the arts.
Wow. And that's so gratifying, right? I mean, it's...
We had no money for the director, we had no money for the cameraman, we had no money for editing.
Right.
Only because, unfortunately, the only camera that we can afford, we shot on DVD tapes. Wow. So that you wind up with 400 hours, right, on tape. And what does that do to the editor?
I know, it's crazy.
But, you know, I promised them that it was going to get done.
How long did it take to edit?
It took about 11 months just to shoot.
Just to shoot.
It took another 8 months to edit.
And it's ready to go soon?
And it's ready to go.
Wow.
And it's done. It started and it's finished.
Well, what's the name of the...
It's called The Coop. It's a story about a young man who's accused of a crime he didn't commit. It's about a family going through domestic violence. It's about a wife trying to keep her husband sane enough, right, to just continue their everyday survival. Wow. It's about bandits and scoundrels that you find every day in the neighborhood. You know, it's 90% of these people never acted. And they said, oh, well, that's a B movie. Well, it's a B movie to people who make million and billion-dollar movies. That's fine. But to the people in this community, it's everything because they took up their time and they made it happen.
So Do you think that some of these young people that worked on the show will be looking to work on other films? And do you think that you've little light, little candlelight for these kids?
I try to keep track and see where they are, because I'm going back. This film was done in 2014.
Wow.
Finished in 2015. Finished edited in late 2016. And these kids are on their way to high school with honors. One kid is a computer whiz. He's gotten a few, honors. Another kid wants to go into science, wants to get into research. So, yeah, it's filming, but it's much more than film. It's about giving them, empowering them to know that anything they strive for, they can do.
Would you like to share this film? You brought a video, right?
Well, I bought small snippets of my putting up with this detective. The reason I come across so snotty is because everybody hates this guy.
Right.
Everybody hates him. And, you don't have to be a detective. You can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, and people can say this guy is nasty.
Right.
So that's where we're at with the coup.
So would you like to share it with our audience?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so this is going to be, I hope you enjoy it. It's a great, I had a chance to see it. It's a really good video, and I hope you enjoy it.
What's up? Is there a problem?
Diego, what a real creepy person, man. Creepy? Me? You talking to me? No. Talk about this guy over here. This was Jerry? Yeah. Jerry's got a lot of controversy, my man. He worked for me for a while. But with the stealing and the drugging, and I didn't want any part of it. I had to let him go. So what? He got arrested last year. I ain't doing no time. The little boy's mother sent the kid to Puerto Rico. She didn't want the little boy humiliated,
Pedro, mira a ver si tenemos una caja allá atrás, que creo que puse una allá.
Hey, Chico. Habla inglés?
Yes, do you?
Oh, I habla.
So what could I do for you, officer?
It's detective.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, wise guy, huh? I'm looking for Diego.
Diego the super, Diego the mailman, or Diego the
He'll
dog?
be the fucking wise guy, eh?
We have a lot of
Diego
Diegos in this
Martinez.
neighborhood.
Diego
Oh,
Martinez.
Diego Martinez.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Diego was never identified as the attacker.
He was probably at court, and they changed his docket without even putting the information in the computer.
That sounds like Garage's doing, man.
You got to understand something about Garaji. It was his uncle that Diego allegedly shot.
No.
Start by telling me who this is.
I'm supposed to know who this is?
Yeah,
I don't know who this is.
comes into your store all the time.
A lot of people come into my store all the time.
And you know a lot of people that come
No, I
into
don't
your
know everybody that comes
Take a
into
good
my
look.
store.
Take a good look.
I am looking. He
You
looks
don't-
like a guy with a lot of blood in his face.
Where were you last night? About 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, I closed the bodega, and we went to the back room, and we started playing some dominoes. You like dominoes?
No, I don't play those kind of games that you people play.
Oh, I see.
I play American games.
Oh, the numbers confuse you, don't they? Yeah.
Always a wise ass.
excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of work.
A lot of work, I'm sure. And you did a lot of the filming yourself, right?
I did, well,
Some of the filming.
some.
It's difficult to do the filming and being
Yeah.
the actor at the same time.
Yeah. So we had a lot of actors that took good direction. So you didn't have to, like, shoot this thing 30 different times from 30 different directions. You want to show somebody being chased, okay, there it is.
That was good, and I liked that chase scene. It was it looked natural. It
Yeah,
looked smooth.
But it goes further than that. That starts at the bodega when he steps out and he's chased through the neighborhood. So there's a lot of chasing, but
Did you have other than the actual family members and all the stuff, were the local police okay with the shooting of the?
they never bothered us.
That's good.
The old, it's a student film.
Right. Oh, student film.
It's a
Right.
student film.
Right. So you can get away with it, right?
But no, they were very good.
So how could someone?
There's a lot of things that happen in Bushwick,
Right.
where
My son lives, I think,
the camera is not the most intimidating
Right,
thing in
that's
the
true.
neighborhood.
So, I mean, I'm not sure exactly when this episode will air, but next Wednesday, this Wednesday coming up, it's going to be.
It's going to be at the Oncology Theater,
Right.
32nd and 2nd Avenue.
But that's going to be on Wednesday.
at 8 o'clock.
Right. But will it be shown again? Will there be access to seeing this?
No, well, we're in the process of sending it to different film festivals just to get a feel for the movie.
Right.
If anybody shows any kind of interest, then that's a whole. I'll let Hector Gonzalez worry about that.
But that'll be one. I mean, if you do get into some film festivals, how wonderful would it be for the kids who are in the film to go and see it? I mean, I know what it's like to have a film that I'm in at a festival. Even at my age, it makes me feel like, wow.
Sure.
It's
It's empowering.
Right.
It's something that's just not for the affluent.
That's it. It's a really good feeling.
We can have something that, get a camera,
That's it.
shoot a story.
So what's next? Do you have any other projects you're planning to?
Well, I'm still working with Lindley on this thing. I don't know when it's going to end.
Oh, for the Fez Belcher show.
The Fez Belcher show. I don't know if it's going to go on and on and on. But
Well, we got a chance to see it at the archive. What's the name of that place in the city?
Anthology.
Anthology
Theater.
That was.
We saw part of it.
Yeah, but it was pretty good. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Man. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's still in the process of putting fillers in, rather than going, just to break up the chapters.
Right.
But I'm sure, commercially, there's always people that can take it and.
Right. It's tough to break. It's tough to break into it.
Yeah.
Though. I mean,
Yeah.
no matter. I mean, Lindley is definitely an artist, and you're an artist.
Well,
But it's so tough. I mean.
It changes. I think art changes. The art of the 70s and 80s and the 90s, and it's constant. It's like comedy. Back in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
The golden age of comedy. You went comedians. We went from the improv to the comic strip, or we ran to First Avenue and 78th Street, Catch, or you went down to Soho, South Street, Folk City, and it changed. Now the clubs put their own mandates into play here. If you want to perform here, you have to come to the open mics and you have to bring people. Right. So
but
it changes.
What was it like, if you don't mind me talking about the comedy stuff, because I'm intrigued.
Oh.
When you were there when all the famous comedians today were not famous. They were just starting.
No.
And what was it like being in that kind of group of people,
it
being
was
one
funny.
of them?
Gilbert Gottfried would walk around with his trays, Elaine Boozler, Andy Kaufman would run in and do his set and run back out to some other club. It was a learning, even if you were an amateur,
Right.
Which most of us were. It's just some of us made it and some of us didn't.
So when someone made it, I mean, because you'd hear it. I remember Michael Keaton. I saw him at Catch a Rising Star, and he was about to go to make his first film, and he talked about it when he was on stage. And my brother and I were there with, our family were watching it, and I was heckling him, which I can't believe I actually will say that, but I was giving. But he was talking about how he was going to go to Hollywood to make his first movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, what was it like when your friends or people that you worked with or your competitors or whatever you would call them, the people that were part of that group, when one person started making it, how did that make you feel?
Well, you feel good for them because you have to know what your position in life is.
Right.
If you're a willing, if you want to be a good comedian, you have to be willing to starve, because that's what's going to make you work harder, If the rent's got to be paid, if you have to eat, that's what's going to make it harder. And the improv in New York was known for passing the hat around. There was a system where you pass the hat around for some guy who hasn't eaten in 2 days or has no place to stay. But, that was the culture, and nothing was...
I remember I used to work at a place called Adam's Apple Disco on 61st Street and First Avenue in Manhattan. And it was right across the street from Dangerfields.
Oh, Dangerfields.
And Andrew Dice Clay used to come in to our club because we had a restaurant, and he would talk to the chef, and he'd get fed by them. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
These guys, even though they worked the clubs, they had no money.
They had...
In the 70s.
Sure, but if you take, you can be an actor, and be willing to settle for what you can get. But I settled. I was more of a professional background artist. I worked on Third Watch in New York Undercover because I had a police uniform. Right? And I did commercials, and I was called for commercials, and I did a FedEx commercial and a Taco Bell commercial, and everything was going good prior to 9/11, unfortunately. And after that, it sort of like slowed down a lot, rightfully so. Given what had occurred to us. But as accepting your role in this business, I was always afraid of not being able to pay my rent. And then I went out and got married. I have a wife to support. I have 2 kids to support now. But I kept working. Whenever I was called, I worked. Whether I got paid or I didn't get paid, I worked because I believe in the arts. The arts is something that I've always looked forward to as a young man.
Yeah, it's once you get bitten. I mean, when I went to Hollywood, I was bitten. I mean, I wasn't bitten before. Oh, actually, in San Francisco, I did a couple of shows. But once I hit Hollywood, I realized I would never get it out of my blood. And the most enjoyable times in my life, even this show is enjoyable. Just having you in front of me, knowing that we're communicating, and it'll reach out to other people, and other people can relate to it. I think I get the best communication I have with another person when I'm doing this show. It's amazing because people bring out, they really let they communicate who they are. It's really wonderful.
It's very important, and the people I worked with, I had Berenice Piazza and John Sanchez and. A bunch of really great people that took up their time on hot summer days to do this film was amazing to me. And
I can't wait to see it.
We didn't do it because we're looking for a commercial market, although that should always be the goal of any film.
They'll all be there on Wednesday, right?
And hopefully they'll be there on Wednesday.
So, and it's 90 minutes?
It's 90 minutes,
wow.
And I think they'll enjoy it.
The person who plays the detective.
Oh,
is he
Jack? His name is Jack Dignati, and
good. I mean, did you like him in real life?
He's an excellent actor,
and a nice guy.
He didn't even know he had it. I saw it, and he's a sweet, lovable human being.
Oh, he could really
all of the people are.
Right.
But they say to do a great act,
Right.
it's always best to play opposites.
That's right.
And this guy, if you meet him in real life, he's a fabulous person.
Right.
You see him in this movie, you hate him.
I know. Even in
Hate
those,
him. You
in
want
the-
to
in the-
slap him after the movie.
right. Even in those small scenes that we saw,
He
he's just-
intimidates you, you know. He only plays American games.
Right.
We know people like that. That's not kid ourselves. We know people that talk like that.
Yeah, it's-
In one of the scenes, he tells Javier, the Spanish detective,
Right.
he tells him, "Why are you wearing jeans? What do you come from a salsa night?" Or he says, "I was at salsa night." He said, "Why don't you get clothes for men?"
Oh God.
You know, it's that imitate, and it's the way he does it.
Right.
It's not only the words.
And that's the way a lot of. I mean, even when I was on Cagney and Lacey, that's how the actors spoke. I mean, they spoke with total disregard, not total, but some of them exaggerated disregard for other people. I'm not going to say anything bad about cops because my father's life was saved by a policeman.
Yeah.
But I know that there've been times in where policemen just have too much stress and they just let it out on the person that they're chasing after or whatever.
You know, I mean, you can't spend 20 years seeing things that the average human being doesn't see on a daily basis.
Thank God they don't see it, right?
And you know, they see it for us, and,
Right.
and
They
we
protect
we
us.
have to be grateful to that.
They don't just protect us from the obvious things, but they also protect us from seeing things that we don't want to see.
Right, they're our shield.
That's it.
You know,
And
they're
it's
our
true.
shield.
Thank
so,
God. Thank God
You know,
we have
thank
them.
God for that.
That's it.
And they don't go into that job saying, "How many people can I beat up today?"
And they also don't.
We have unfortunate situations where, you know,
Well, you can't. That's it. I mean,
I'm
there's-
not an expert in that field, so.
yeah, but there's always going to be the outliers. But the people, you know, I mean, people don't go into that business to become rich. They're doing it for a different. There's a different calling, and hopefully, and not hopefully, for the most part, it's people who want to do their duty and make the world a little better.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's not easy.
It's a tough world, especially when there's people like Pablo and what was the name of your puppet on the Fez Belzer show?
Miguelito,
Oh yeah.
because I'm Miguel.
Oh, that's right. Oh, little Miguel. Right.
Miguelito.
Miguelito.
ITO, I don't know, you know.
You know-
Latinos pick this ITO, you know.
Right.
You know, Carlito,
Yeah.
Pablito,
They used to call me
Miguelito.
Blanquito. But anyway,
Which
it was
is-
really great having you on the show. But
which
I
is
hate to say
great.
this. There's only one thing left to say.
Yes,
That's a wrap. Good night, folks.
beautiful.